Hello, Chris from Mystery cleaning winds of the Fylde Coast once again. I thought I'd drop a quick video today. I've been asked to do a video about the pros and cons of producing your own pure water or buying it in. Okay, so as per usual, this is just my opinion, and a couple of tidbits of sort of my experience, if you like, of having to sort of do either. Okay, now I do have a Spotless water account. That is the Spotless water, for those that are uninitiated, have a number of sites all over the country purely for producing pure water for window cleaners, or for those that just want pure water for their own use. Okay, so water-fed pole window cleaning, okay, you're going to require pure water one way or the other. Excuse me. And it doesn't matter if you produce it yourself or if you buy it in, you just need it. So much like you'd need fuel to drive your van, if you purchase any pure water from Spotless water or any other provider for the purposes of cleaning windows or commercial cleaning or valeting, what have you, it is an integral part of your business, and as such, you can claim 100% of that back through your accountant when it comes to tax. Okay, the same cannot be said of water that you produce at home. Why is that? When you produce water at home, it, generally speaking, comes through the water mains that feed the house. Okay, but pure water that's bought in from Spotless water is just used for work. It is just, etc. However, when you flush the loo, when you make a cuppa, when you do the washing up, when you do the laundry, you require water. So as such, you can't claim 100% of your water bill back. You can't, okay? I would always advise speaking to an accountant about what you can claim back. Part of what I claim back through tax is the use of my water bill, but I only claim a percentage of it back. What percentage you claim back varies year to year, and you're always better off speaking to an accredited person, an accountant, that will help you out with that. Okay. The other side to it is obviously, whereabouts in the country do you live? I will leave a link in the description. Excuse me. I will leave a link in the description to areas in the country of the UK where the water hardness scales are. So areas of soft water, areas of hard water, etc. Because that has some bearing on how long your filters will last if you decide to purify your water at home. Now again, if you decide you wanted to purchase your water through Spotless water, that's maintained by a team of engineers that go around, that visit sites every week and maintain the quality of the water. I have had some people sort of say that, when they've taken water out of Spotless water, it's something like 3 to 7 parts per million, which strictly speaking isn't pure. But when all said and done, in my humble opinion, 3 parts per million to 7 parts per million is still perfectly usable for cleaning windows, and it will not leave spots. So, you can use water up to and including 25 parts per million. I know this because I've done it myself. I had a filter fail on me, and we had a shortage of resin. So I was forced to sort of delay purifying the water to the extent that I normally do. So I know that if you have water at 25 parts per million, you can still use it, okay? Anything above that is touch and go, and I wouldn't recommend it, but it can be done. Me personally, when my water gets to above sort of 3 parts per million, I change the resin. I just do. I can hear some people already chatting in the comment section already saying, well, you can. I usually leave it till 10, and that's cool. Whatever works for you, mate. If you decide that you want to change the resin when it gets to 10 parts per million, all power to you. I decide to change it at 3, just because I can keep on top of it, and and I don't have to sort of, if something happens later down the line where I keep putting things off, and then have an emergency, etc. I've got that warm fuzzy feeling that I know that the water's good to go. The Spotless water is 24-hour access, which is fantastic for people that live in city centres, etc., or have smaller homes where they might not have the ability to store the water at home. When all said and done, again, it's a it's a cubic meter of water, which takes up a bit of a fair amount of space. So in an ideal world, you'd probably want an outhouse or a garage or some form of shed to keep the actual tank in. And the biggest reason for that is because in the winter, in the house that we used to live in, like I mentioned before, the water membrane split because of the ice and frost got into the bottom of the valve, and it split the valve at the bottom, and there was water everywhere. So really, it needs to be kept indoors. And if you're in the UK, if you're in Tenerife, knock yourself out. It'll stay outside your house, no problem at all. But again, it's all down to space and what you have available and whereabouts you live in the country. You've got, as I mentioned, you've got 24-hour access in city centre areas and stuff like that. The only downside, in my humble opinion, is I've experienced this myself, is we paid a visit to Spotless Water a couple of months ago when we were working away, and we thought, oh yeah, we'll just go to Spotless Water, we'll just top up there, happy days, no dramas. Tipped up, and some little scrote with a crowbar had gone in there and smashed up one of the sites, one of the control panels to the actual Spotless Water. So we couldn't access any water. So we had to run around, beg, borrow, steal. And again, we've got a DI vessel in each of the vehicles. So worst case scenario, we just run it through that and purify it through the van. It's not ideal, but it does work. It's a good short-term sort of measure. So yeah, I mean, is it worth the investment with Spotless Water? Again, it just depends on your needs. If you're in a soft water area where you've got, let's say, I don't know, I think in previous videos that I've done, someone mentioned that they're in the area that they live in, and I forget which area that it is. The water comes out the tap at 37 parts per million. So really, I mean, a DI vessel is, perfectly adequate, will last you ages. You might end up having to do a resin change maybe every 8 weeks, every 9 weeks, something like that. In the area where I live in, 180 parts per million, which basically meant that we were doing a resin change on a 23-litre vessel every 4 weeks, which, gets costly. Every 4 weeks, effectively every month, you've got a bag of resin going through one vehicle, and I've got 3. So to be fair, I had to find an alternative for me. So I decided to go with purifying my own water through Pure Freedom's IBC unit. And again, I'll leave a link in the description to the machine so you can see which machine I use. And put things in perspective. If you was to buy a bag of resin every month, it might cost you, by the end of the year, it's probably costing you 1,300 quid. Put things in perspective with when I purchased my Pure Freedom water purifier. I spent it was 1,100 quid thereabouts. And again, I'll put the full list in the description for how much it costs now. It costs something like call it 1,100 quid for the actual vessel. But then I didn't do a resin change for about 9 months. I didn't do a resin change for 9 months, but I had to change the filters. The carbon filter and the sediment filters need changing they say every 3 months, but I usually do it every 6. So I usually change the small filters twice a year, and I change the large 40/40 membrane, I change that annually, and then I change the resin as and when it goes above 3 parts per million. So what I was spending on resin was 1,300 quid a year, thereabouts. This year I've bought 3 bags of resin because of various sort of shortages that have been going on over the past 2 years for, the reasons I mentioned in the last video. But yeah, I bought 3 bags of resin in the last 2 years. I've still got 2 left. So, in fact, well, I've got two and a bit, to be honest with you. I've got 2 and a small amount in the bottom of a bag. So, you know, it gives you a bit of savings over time. You know, so in my humble opinion, if you're in a hard water area, purify you, and you've got the availability to have a water tank in your garage, go for it. It's a worthwhile investment. It will save you money over time. If, on the other hand, you just want convenience and you're happy to sacrifice a little bit more money to pay for the pure water and then claim it back at the end of the year, which comes off your tax bill, which works out effectively, you know, it's free effectively. Then, well, not free, but it's, you know, you can claim it back. Then, you know, it just depends what is best for you, quite frankly. I imagine Shropshire is a, you know, relatively soft water area. Hit me in the comments, Ryan, if I'm wrong. But if you could give me an idea what your parts per million is, that would certainly sort of help. But yeah, I hope you found that useful. Again, bring on the comments, bring on the you know, the interactions, etc. I'm all for it. And yeah, if you've got any questions, comments, queries, snide remarks, or requests for future videos, please like, share, subscribe, and hit me up in the comments section. All the very best, peeps. Have a very good Christmas. This is probably going to be my last video before Christmas, and I shall see you in the new year. All the very best.